If you've ever been frustrated as a motorist to come home, find your parking spot, you pay for a permit, and then there's someone in a spot and they don't even have a permit. They're just parked there, and you're like, well, what do I do now? Other than hoping they get a ticket. There's good news, I think, and maybe not just for this kind of permit parking, but someone parked, I don't know, in a bike lane. We've seen that before as well. What do? Well, now there is an option. Craig SAUVÉ is a Montreal City Councillor. Craig's on the line right now. Craig, how you doing?
Very well. Good evening.
So, good afternoon as well.
True afternoon.
I saw your post on Twitter last week. I actually captured a screenshot of it because I'd heard nothing about this until such time as you actually posted this. So can you explain what this is? It's a 24/7 hotline. What do you do? Who uses it? How does it work?
Well, listeners might recall that the SPVM used to be wholly in charge of, parking enforcement, and people used to call into 911 for parking calls. They got about 100,000 calls per year at 911 for parking.
Oh my God.
And some time ago, the city decided to bring parking into an agency called the Sustainable Mobility Agency, which is apart from the SPVM. And they've started bringing the enforcement agents over to their agency, and they've now created a hotline. And so you don't have to call 911, you don't have to call the police, and they're solely devoted to the management of parking spaces and road spaces in general, mobility in general. So this number is 514-868-3737. And you can call in 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. So you'll actually have phone agents on the other side that understand parking laws, understand how it's supposed to work, and really focus on the enforcement of this. And you're right. If you have a vignette space, a permit space that's not being respected on your street, you can call this hotline, and, they're going to send their enforcement agents to verify that street a lot more, and essentially, hopefully, that the parking rules will be respected after that. Same thing for reserved bus lanes or delivery spaces. There's a whole other, gambit of needs that are on our streets right now, and so it's good to actually have proper enforcement so that these rules are better respected.
I'm sorry, are you towing cars or just sending out someone to put a ticket on a car?
In this regard, these mobility agents that are on the ground, they're sort of like the parking agents we've always known, but they're under the agency's hat. And so they can, enforce the rules obviously with tickets. But in extreme cases like bus lanes that are being used that are very busy, if you have a car that's sitting there for an hour and you're holding back thousands of people from going through a really busy bus lane, they can tow you now, in fact.
Okay.
So it is important that people do respect the rules because we need to share the space that we have in the city.
Okay, so I was wondering, because it seems to me like when we have a car that's blocking our driveway, we have, and driveways in NDG are incredibly hard to come by as our parking spots, we would call 311, and then 311 would kind of take it from there. They would call the police if needs be, if the car had to be towed. So does this replace calling, I know 911 you said, but does it also replace potentially calling 311 with these kinds of issues, Craig?
I'd say if we're talking about enforcement, that we want people to, if they want the city or this agency now to come and make sure that parking rules are respected, then we should call this number 868-3737. If we want to engage with the city with regards to, transportation planning or general, how my street works, that conversation should definitely start with 311, because it's important to open a file actually at the city, so that, our services can actually locate the issues. And we do collect data as well, and so will this agency as well. So more calls means probably that we'll know there's a problem more specifically located in one area.
So am I right in understanding that the impetus behind this was to help cyclists who are frustrated by the bike lanes being blocked, but it actually ends up helping everybody, motorists, cyclists, pedestrians alike?
For everybody, really, and if you're a small business and you have a delivery quay that's not being respected because people are deciding to park there for the day, that's also good for you too. So this is to serve everybody, to make sure that the actual parking rules that are currently in place are enforced. We want to have cleaner streets too, right? So even if you don't own a car and people are always parking on your street when the street sweepers are supposed to pass, that, ruins your quality of life to a certain degree too, because your street's less clean. So it goes for everybody, drivers, cyclists, small businesses. It's an actual it's a better, more efficient and concentration of services.
All right, I want to ask a question. You said you can call this number, so the number again is 868-3737, 24/7. Is there are you staffing this thing around the clock with live people?
As far as I know, there's going to be 27 phone agents, and you can also write by email as well. If you go on the website, you can fill in through the fields. So I'm not sure whether they're staffed at 3 a.m. On the phone, but they will get back to you if not. And there are 250 parking enforcement officers that actually roam the streets on a regular basis. So they're always out there for sure. And, again, they're still hiring and they're still training. So it's something that became active over the last little while, over the last few weeks. So it's a bit slow right now, but you'll get a more efficient response as the training continues and more people are hired.
And again, just for clarification, do these people you're referring to now, do they take the place of the standard, what we used to call green onions, or is this over and above that?
Yep, exactly. Now, you might have noticed that you see their little cars roaming the streets that says the Agence de Mobilité Durable. They're the old green onions. They used to have even the SPVM logo. Well, they don't have those on their cars anymore. So people may not have noticed, but they're around there and they do wear proper uniforms and they are equipped. And so they can deliver a parking fine like the police green onions used to. And that goes for, those lots that are off street as well that are run by the agency, those public lots, parking meters, bus lanes, as you mentioned, all of the above.
I want to squeeze in one quick question because we were talking about crosswalks earlier in Montreal and how they basically are a disaster waiting to happen at any given moment. Like it is not safe to use crosswalks here. So we talked about should there be an awareness campaign, and we had a caller, Craig, who said, Tina, she's blind, and she said, why don't they have photo radar at the pedestrian crosswalks so you could actually, generate revenue from people who aren't respecting the laws.
And we both thought that was an amazing idea.
So we thought we'd put that forward to you. Can you try to tell somebody what a great idea this is?
We think it's a great idea too. I think everybody in the city agrees. One of the things we hear most from our residents is, traffic safety, transport issues. And indeed, there is a radar system in Quebec, but the way it's set up right now, believe it or not, the minister has to sign a decree for every single photo radar that goes out across the province of Quebec. So the city can't even install on its own behest a photo radar right now, which is very frustrating. So we're asking for that to be devolved to the municipalities.
And therein lies the problem. All right, Craig, thank you. Craig, before I let you go, how are we doing on that traffic light at the corner of Des Seigneurs and St. Patrick?
Every time I pass it, I think about you, Aaron.
I'm sorry, Craig. Apologies.
We are doing a whole new transport plan in the Sud-West, and there's consultations underway, and it's going to be something that I'm going to bring up personally with our services. So don't worry, I'm all over that one.
Thank you, Craig. Craig SAUVÉ, Montreal City Councillor. Appreciate it. Thanks.